All right, well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our South by Southwest EDU Round Rock ISD Vicarious PD Debrief. We have a special guest, Dr. Steve Flores, our Superintendent of Schools, to stop by and to say hi.
Hello.
And let's let Dr. Flores know we're here talking about our experience at South by Southwest EDU this last week and sharing that knowledge with the school district and everybody else that wasn't able to be there. So I do see a couple other people popping in. It looked like Krista Tyler from McNeil. I know she was down there. She might want to share a few words later as well. But if you didn't know what Vicarious PD is, it's a system that we put in place that allows Round Rock ISD employees who are attending conferences to share in some of that learning and send it back to everybody else in the school district. So if you go to that link that's in right under my name right there, roundrockisd.org/SXSWedu, you'll get to see some of the notes and experiences that our guests today had at the conference. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves real quickly, say what you do, where you work, and then just real briefly kind of talk about maybe a couple of your favorite sessions or some of the things you experienced or people you met, and we'll go from there. We'll start first with, let's start with Erin.
Awesome, thank you. Well, I invited a buddy here because the reason I was at South by Southwest EDU was I won my ticket on my badge on Twitter as a result of Krista tweeting out to people that there was this contest. So the fact that I was even there was kind of an accident, but I was really, really grateful to her. And so because of her use of social media on our campus here at McNeil, she was able to actually get I think we got 6 teachers that all went. 6 teachers that were able to go that were unplanned. And so it ended up being like a wonderful experience for us, I think, as a campus, because we brought back a lot of things we're looking forward to at PD. So I teach English language arts here at McNeil High School. That is a fabulous ITS. And we were really excited that our campus was able to get out and meet people and make different connections. And some of the people we followed on Twitter or on the internet, we were able to see in person and able to have conversations with them and bring those materials back and ask the questions we've always wondered. And so I know one of the biggest connections I made was meeting with some people from Google. I was able to make different connections with Google offices in New York, here in Austin, and with some of their power users across the country, and was able to connect with those people who can really kind of grow me and mentor me as a teacher. So it was kind of an experience. How about you, Krista?
Erin's like totally downplaying that shit. It was like totally like, Erin met Alice Keeler live. People, if you don't know who Alice Keeler is, you're missing out. But yeah, like Erin said, it was kind of a weird thing to win class on Twitter, because we didn't think that we were going to win anything. I don't have $500 to just go to South by, so it was nice to win and accidentally get to go.
And we're excited. We've already talked to our admin here on campus, and they're interested in having us share out what we've learned with our departments, and then also maybe as part of staff development next August, we gather some sessions where we can get permission from those presenters and then represent some of the material we've learned. So we're really excited about this future application development.
Oh, excellent. Sounds like you guys had a great experience. I'm glad you were able to attend. We want to thank the, what's the organization that gave away the badges?
PES Innovates. With the hashtag. So they just ask people to hashtag ways that they're innovating their classroom, and it can be with technology, without technology. And we just tweeted that out. I mean, I think I just tweeted out that I'm working on a YouTube channel. It's like not even finished. And they were like, that's awesome, here's a free pass. So.
And I was able to tweet out some of the projects I've already done with my students as a result of things I've tried in my classroom. Part of it was related to my next generation digital classroom experience and some of the things that I've been working on with that program throughout the year. But I just tweeted out some things my kids have been doing recently, and that's what won. But TES, when we met with them at a breakfast they hosted, was really about trying to bring online PD to teachers and to make it something teachers wanted to do and how to do that. And so we spent time dialoguing about that, and I actually told them about our Vicarious PD idea that you had, and they seemed to think that was really fascinating. So I have a feeling you'll be hearing from them, Ryan.
Yeah.
They were very interested in the different ways we're now looking at delivering PD, and which of those are going to be successful for educators as we move into an online forum.
Well, good. Well, excellent. It sounds like you guys, like I said, had a great time. Let's and I'll put links to everything that you guys are bringing up to on that site right down here. So if you're taking notes out there while you're watching, you don't have to take notes. It'll all be on that site. So Jesse, why don't you tell us a little bit about your time?
Well, my name is Jesse Sosa. I'm the Instructional Technology Specialist at Live Oak Elementary. This is my first year doing that. I've been a classroom teacher for the last 6 years, and I've actually been to South by Southwest EDU every single year for free, thank goodness. But yeah, I also won a pass via Twitter using that hashtag TSInnovates. And so I tweeted out some things that I'd done with my class and to win a pass, and I didn't win one right away. So I started tweeting out things that I did last year with a classroom teacher, and then I was able to get a pass and go. And I shared that hashtag with my teachers, and about 8 of us got to go total, which was a lot of fun. And then we had our Wednesday faculty meeting, so we didn't get to go on Wednesday, and it was early release. But they all shared out ideas and things they're excited about. So it's pretty cool to see, different points of view from different classroom teachers, what sessions they were going to, and what they were sharing with our campus. But it was a great experience. I love going every single year, and this year I got to meet and talk to a lot of different, tech startup companies or companies that I've been using to integrate tech lessons here at Live Oak. And then they asked for feedback on products, and so I even have one guy coming out to talk to my teachers the week we get back from spring break to talk about Apollo from the Atlas Learning Company. And so it was definitely a good time for sure.
Well, good. Well, you've had a kind of a different experiences now as attending as a classroom teacher and now as an ITS. I'm sure there's lots of similarities, but anything that you saw different this year through that new lens?
I guess the big difference was when I was a teacher, I was specifically looking for what can I do with my third grade students to enhance learning. And so certain things you would sit in, you're oh, I can't do that. That's too young. That's too old. But then now as an ITS, I'm looking for everyone, even the specials areas, and even our deaf ed population, what services can be used with them. And so having a different lens as ITS, because I have the whole school in mind and not just my classroom, definitely made me go out there more and try more things.
Excellent. And when we did our Vicarious PD project, we tried to bring in people from various different departments and divisions within Round Rock ISD. So I was really excited when Dr. Megan Olszewski, if I did say that correctly, works in our assessment and audit department. And so she brings a completely different kind of lens to the conference. So really excited to hear from you, Megan, about what you experienced.
Yeah, so I'm in the research development department, and so I was kind of coming, first of all, the education, and so really school and I was looking for questions about data and student data use, looking for new ACs, and I was also looking for anything that might inform technical education and evaluation, kind of hearing both of those. Yeah. It was really interesting. I'd say my favorite sessions were the ones that were interactive, so really about creating conversation, the ed-tech
Hey, Megan, I'm going to cut you off. Really excited to hear what you're saying, but we're having a really hard time hearing you. So, let's try taking out your headphones or try something different, and then might.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay. Yay! So yeah, what do I need to re-say what I just said?
Yeah, you should probably start at the beginning.
Okay. So I was first, this was my first education conference. I've been to district for less than a year, so I was really excited. This one was a cool conference to go to. And I was looking for sessions about student data use, student data privacy issues, and I think our district is interested in looking for new ways to look at student data. And I was also looking for things that would be related to our next generation digital classroom pilot, implementation, and evaluation of technology in the classroom. So my favorite sessions were the really interactive ones that were basically conversations between ed tech developers, school district employees, teacher. So yeah.
Unmute myself. So it sounds like you had an excellent time at your first education conference, Megan. So I'm sure you'll be going to more now that you've joined us here in the district and kind of learning from that new lens. And please do continue to share with the rest of us kind of what you're seeing and what your experiences are when you come back, because you do bring a different mindset than a lot of the rest of us. And I do know Katrina Bailey, the principal at Caraway Elementary, might be hopping on the call here in a minute. But she did the Vicarious PD as well, and she shared all her notes on that website that I shared with you, as well as Amy Prescott and Melissa Brophy from the Secondary Science Department. They both also shared a lot of their notes and their perspective. Unfortunately, they couldn't join us on the Hangout today, but definitely check out their folder as well. And really, the other thing that I wanted to talk about today was this whole concept of Vicarious PD, and as you 3 or 4 that took part, was sharing your notes, really going in with the mindset that I'm here for the rest of the district. So if we can maybe just go around one more time, and Aaron, how did that change your conference experience, or what could be better? What you like about it? What didn't you like? Because we're going to be doing this again.
For sure, absolutely. So I think I talked to you about this in person at the conference when we ran into each other, but really for me, it gave my experience at South by a totally professional edge to it. As an English teacher, I'm always looking for authentic reasons to write and to model that for my students. So being able to talk about that process with them was really kind of important to me, and so I think it helped me see the conference in a different light. It was a way of, now I wasn't just going for me and my learning and what I can bring back to my students, but really it gave me a global mindset of thinking about, even to the point where I chose certain sessions that had nothing to do with what I teach or what I do in my room or where my students are at, because I really wanted to be able to bring back a wealth of different opportunities. So it really even did change the kind of sessions that I went to some extent, which I think was a really good thing, because I really didn't sit in a single session that I felt like wasn't valuable. So, but blogging about it that's how I thought about it. Like I said, added a professionalism to it that I thought was really interesting. So hopefully people found it interesting. I did have a Spanish teacher on my campus come up to me yesterday and say that she had been following me and reading the notes and watching my Twitter and things like that, and I had no idea that I was being stalked. But I think that's kind of the point, is it's a way for people to engage without having to put themselves out there, but still reap the benefits of the experience, and I think there's a lot of value to that. So.
Excellent. Yeah. How about Jesse? What did you like or not like about Vicarious PD?
I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was definitely made me more reflective of what I was attending and doing, because sometimes I tend to check out of things, especially if I'm not really enjoying it too much. But I made myself sit longer through sessions and kind of really understand what the person was talking about and what they were trying to get across. And then I also did a lot of research as well. So I looked them up on Twitter. I'd look up what products they were using. So it made me just be more attentive and definitely more focused on the session and what was being presented. But I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I try to put some humor in my daily reflections. I hope whoever reads them enjoys it.
I'm sure they will. And I'm excited that Katrina Bailey looks like she's joined us from
I am here.
Caraway. Thank you, Katrina. And like I said earlier, we were looking for different perspectives. And as a principal, we definitely wanted to hear from that lens of what you felt you learned at the conference, what you're going to bring back to your campus. And so if you want to just take a minute or two and kind of say who you are, what you do, and what you learned.
Sure. I'm Katrina Bailey. I'm the principal at Caraway, and this is my first time actually attending South by Southwest EDU, and I learned actually a whole bunch. I didn't get to participate in as much as I wanted to because the job of a principal actually, when duty calls, you go. And so I was able to go on Wednesday, and I actually attended quite a few things on Wednesday, but I was also able to go on Tuesday evening to the exhibitors. And so one of the things that I was looking for in exhibitors is how can I bring more enrichment to my campus? Because one of the things I feel strongly about is that all kids deserve enrichment. And so even students that may be receiving intervention services or special education services or maybe even tag services deserve enrichment, but also those kids who are receiving no services also deserve enrichment too. So I was looking for opportunities for those students, and I was actually able to find some really great resources that I can use on my campus to actually start some sort of a school-wide enrichment program. One of the things that I looked at is Google actually has some great enrichment programs that are actually free that they're launching and putting out, and so I was able to make some connections there. And they're going to be sending me actually full lesson plans on before school enrichment programs, during school enrichment programs, and then after school. So that's something I was really interested in. One of the things I'm also interested in is personalized learning and blended learning. And so I was able to attend some panel chats on that, but then also participate in some workshops on how do we bring personalized learning into the classroom, because I feel strongly about that too, that the more we can personalize learning for students, the greater opportunity they will have for academic success. And so I was able to attend some panel discussions on that. But I think what I get most out of attending conferences is the networks, and also being able to talk to other district and campus leaders and also teachers about what is best needed for students. So I had a lot of opportunity to do that. I was able to attend some panel discussions and also some workshops on how do you increase. Can you hear me, Ryan?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Didn't know if you guys could hear me or not.
We got you.
Also able to attend some panel discussions and workshops on how to increase parent engagement and bring. And one of the greatest quotes and I actually tweeted this one out is, how do you community engagement insanity is expecting parents to come to you. And so that was great discussion with educators and campus and school leaders from all over the country on how do they increase engagement and how do they bring people to their campuses. And so the discussion was a lot beyond Twitter and of course our school messenger and e-news, but how do we truly increase parental engagement, and a lot of it was about going to where our community is rather than having them always come to us. So that was really great discussion. But then also one of the things I'm going to definitely bring back to our vertical leadership team here on Westwood, we've been talking a lot about culture responsiveness, and I was able to attend a panel discussion on brain learning. And so some of the things that I learned there I think will be next steps for us in our vertical leadership team. So it was great as an administrator to look at it from that lens. Of course, I have a lot of interest as an administrator, and so being able to narrow it, South by Southwest can be overwhelming, but I thought it was a great learning experience, and I look forward to going in the future and participating. So it was great.
Good. Yeah, great, and thank you for adding a lot of your notes and thoughts into that shared folder on our Vicarious PD site. And before we finish up with Megan, Katrina, while you're on the unmuted microphone there, what were just thoughts on sharing your notes with the rest of the district and knowing that people would kind of be following along with you? Anything you liked, didn't like?
I was really worried about, more than anything, I was worried about whether or not it sounded correct, or whether or not, because I was typing as I was participating. And so I was worried about whether or not people will actually be able to follow along, because the way I take notes may not be the most appropriate way for people to receive them or learn or get anything out of it. So I think that was what I was most kind of concerned about, but I actually loved it. I think it made me pay more attention, quite honestly, to what and being thoughtful about what I shared and what I was getting out of it and what would be useful to other people. So I actually enjoyed it, but I think the scariest part was knowing that people would be following along as I was participating. So, but it was great.
Oh, good. Yeah, that is it gives you a whole different level of focus. You know, people are watching and following along with you.
For sure. Yeah.
So Megan, kind of just the Vicarious PD angle, knowing that folks are going to be looking at your notes, sharing your thoughts. Any thoughts on how we might be able to do this better at the next conference? Hang on a second, Megan, you're muted. There you go.
Am I good now?
Yep.
I think that one thing that I would like, and Jesse and I kind of talked about this, is like you're sending your notes out into the cosmos, but was anybody reading them? Who knows? And if there was some way to kind of make that process a little more interactive, that would be good. Because I took time, like Katrina said, you always worry that when you're taking notes that there's incoherent to other people. And so I tried to take time to make sure that they made sense and that if you were in a session, you could read them and understand them. But if I could get feedback of, oh, hey, I liked it, or, you know, more on that, I really want to say this part, that would be good. Because that would be my only improvement. But it did make me pay attention more and take better notes and more complete notes. So,
Well, good. I like that idea. That's a good point about, you know, trying to find ways to make even that aspect of it interactive. You know,
Right.
and
Aaron and I were discussing it would have been nice if it was maybe just one shared document where, you know, your 5 selected Vicarious PD people were all collaborating in one space. Then you kind of have a running tally of everything, and you can see where other people are. And so, you know, if Jesse is at the Makerspace session, then I don't need to go to the Makerspace session because Jesse will get that covered, and I can go to whatever session I wanted to go to.
And we ended up doing that with all of the people that I happened to work with who were there. We started a Google Hangout. We would figure out who was going to what sessions, and we shared all those among ourselves. And so that's what teachers do when they go to conferences like this. So I think it's something that is really common to a lot of educators when we go. But we did think it would, like, some way to, you know, the presentation of just a Google Doc, a running Google Doc, too, is also kind of intimidating. You know, I ended up writing, like, pages and pages of stuff as an English person. And so I'm not sure that is the best method. So it's also, what do we do with that information now that we've put it in one place? Where does it go next? And how do we present it in a way that maybe is more meaningful to anyone, kind of like Ms. Bailey was saying, you know, what does that information look like now? And how can we use it to our, you know, our advantage?
Sure, kind of that next step. You know, now that we've done this for the last, you know, 4 days, I mean, how do we kind of package that and make it easier for our teachers and really everybody else in the district to learn from it, especially if they weren't following along live. You know, most people are, you know, busy teaching class and all of that. So I'm hoping that, you know, we'll post this video and keep that site, you know, up there forever for people to be able to go back to, and we'll look at a way to maybe curate our shared notes and share those out in an easier to follow way. You know, we've only got a couple minutes left, and just one thing I wanted to add. So I was down there too, and what I was really pleasantly surprised to hear from a lot of the sessions I was in was that from industry folks to higher ed to K-12, there seemed to be a continuing buzz and talk around authentic learning, project-based learning, everything that had to do with really looking at instruction and how kids are learning. And surprisingly, there was at least in my experience, very little talk about assessment. I know last year it was a lot of talk about assessment and this and that, and I feel like everybody's just kind of feeling, yeah, that's over there. We're going to focus on this. You know, we're going to focus on really creating authentic assessments and you know, looking at learning that way. You know, from some of my favorite sessions, they all brought up authentic learning and PBL. You know, from Mimi Ito yesterday, and Guy Kawasaki even talked about, you know, creating authentic learning opportunities. He was great, by the way. Make sure you look at some of his notes. I put the shared notes in my folder from his session. And also, yeah, looks like somebody bought a book.
No, I didn't. No. I won it.
She won a book.
Lucky
district.
He gave it to me at the end of his session. I stayed, took a selfie with him, which is in my folder. My face looks like frazzled and amazed, but
she hung out with all the cool people.
Yeah. So anyway, there's definitely at least a copy at McNeil that we can all share and those sorts of things. But I had to get my Guy Kawasaki plug in there.
Yeah.
No, that was good. He gave a great talk. And the shared notes are all the slides and everything from his presentation as well. And then I was really impressed, not surprisingly, but Goldie Hawn, I thought yesterday, and her message about, you know, looking at the brain and teaching our kids from kindergarten up to really understand why they're feeling the way they're feeling. I thought that was a real powerful message. It really ties into a lot of the social emotional training that we're doing in the district as well, you know, with whether it's Capturing Kids' Hearts or any of the other programs that, you know, where we're looking at really the whole child. So any last words from anybody before we sign off and get back to work?
I wanted to say thank you, you know, to you guys at the PD department and to our wonderful principal, Courtney Acosta, at school, and all the other principals that let their teachers that won this pass at the last minute sure, you can go, trust that professionalism to go off campus and bring back, important PD to our teachers. So I really
especially the week before spring break as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, be gone for 4 days before spring break, please. Oh, and also that's next week. So it was very, very nice and understanding. Our department heads chipped in so that teachers could have days, and I just wanted to say thank you to all those people that were like, oh, sure, last minute PD, week before spring break, no problem. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was great to see so many Round Rock ISD folks down there, and we definitely, I think, left a mark, and a lot of our different tools and systems that we have were being talked about, were being celebrated around the conference.
Yeah.
We left a mark in a good way, Ryan.
We did, yes. We left a good mark. I was shocked yesterday, and in one of the closing keynotes, everybody had to get in kind of a group of 3 or 4, and you had to pick one person out of that team to be the team's tweeter. And when I went back and looked at the tweet stream, it was like I recognized everybody that was chosen by their team as Round Rock ISD teachers or principals or somebody. So it was great to see, even in that realm, really we were celebrating our work, and being seen even in those small groups as leaders, in education. So I want to thank you guys for trying this out, for the first time. We've done some Vicarious PD before with at the National Title I Conference with Margot and Catherine Birch, Margot Vogelpool and Catherine Birch, so make sure you check that out too. But this was really our first time with multiple people looking at ways to share their learning with the district. So thank you all again. My battery's about to run out, and I know we all have things to get wrapped up before spring break starts. So we're going to go ahead and sign off. So thank you, everybody.